My name is June Ishtar Jako. I'm originally an Assyrian from Iraq.
And where do you live now?
I live at Wakeley.
When did you migrate to Australia and how old were you at the time?
I migrated in 1984. I was almost 24 years old.
Can you tell us a bit about the reasons for leaving your home? What was the situation like?
Originally, I left home in 1981, and I traveled I went to France to catch up with my fiancé, and then we got married. But we couldn't stay in France as immigrants. This is why we migrated. Australia opened their doors, and we migrated to Australia in 1984, and we started our family here.
And why could you no longer live in Baghdad?
I couldn't live in Baghdad. It wasn't really my story. It's not like maybe everyone that you heard. I was a student, and I left my third year of university and just went out because my fiancé was out. He had to leave because of the circumstances of the war. So after I finished my third year, I had to join with him so we can start family together.
Do you remember preparing for your trip?
I do. It's like a dream now, but I remember I was overwhelmed. I was happy to go to a new life and start a new life. But like I thought, probably my story is a bit different to other immigrants. Like I had a good life. We had a good life in Baghdad at the time, even though there was a war between Iran and Iraq. But our situations were much better than at the moment what's happening and with the new immigrants and what they've been suffering before they're coming to these countries.
Did you decide to come to Australia?
I did. At the beginning, I didn't want to because what they were showing us the outbacks, the dingoes, the kangaroos, the desert. And I said, where are we going, guys? And at that time, maybe, there was this story of the baby, that the dingo, yes, it was at that time. And when I saw that, where are we going? And but then, no, it wasn't like that. Australia is beautiful, all the greenery, all the mountains, all that. It's not a desert. And I just love it. I just love it now. I think we are lucky. We're very lucky to be in Australia, and it is really a lucky country to be.
Did you have family and friends that already lived in Australia?
Family and friends, no, I was the first one to move there, and then slowly my sister came to join me, and my family, they were still in Iraq for a while, but they're all here now. Yeah, most of them, they migrated to Australia afterward.
And have you ever been back to Iraq?
I went back to Iraq in 2012, but into the north, where it was a bit safer to be. And since then I went back to the north again, which is north of Iraq, and 3 times afterwards.
You've already talked about it a little bit, but can you tell us how you felt when you first arrived in Australia? What were the big differences you noticed?
When we arrived to Australia, with all these sceneries in my mind, the desert, the dingoes and the kangaroos, not that I'm scared of, I love animals and I love this type of animal. But when we arrived, I remember we arrived at the airport and we started driving, coming to Fairfield. Well, we came to Fairfield first thing, and since then we've been in Fairfield. So this is 35 years I live in Fairfield. And when we start coming and when we get to Fairfield, central Fairfield, because this is where we stayed with relatives, and I saw all these shops back then, I said, this looked to me like the Wild West, with all these shops, and it looked to me like that. And I said to my husband, we came to the cowboy town. Yeah. But I tell you, I fell in love with Australia, specifically Fairfield, and in 10 years afterward, I saw a big change and a big movement, and development in Fairfield itself and the whole of Australia.
Let's talk a little bit about all the photographs that you brought. Who are in the photos?
I brought those photographs with me. This is my album, and I remember when I was putting this album together, my mom got upset. She said, "You're taking all our photos with you. You cleaned." She said, "You cleaned my photos," but I didn't listen. So I got my photo, and now I cherish them. I treasure because I have all my friends there, all my memory when I was a child. It's just amazing, and I love keeping them. And I have some other photos from my family, my mom's and dad's family. They're very old when my parents were young children. And these are my grandparents from mom's side. This is the engagement day, on their engagement day. And these are my dad's family. The family having a portrait together, yeah. And I really cherish them. I myself love anything that's old. I love old photos, especially the black and white ones. And I'm a collector. I love to collect objects.
Great.
I like these things.
And there's also the scarf on your chair?
This scarf, even though, like you said, it's new, it looks new because I kept it well. This scarf was brought to me as a present from my grandmother. She went visiting Urmia in Iran, and she brought me this scarf. Then maybe I was 16 or 17 years old. I kept it well, but still there's, even though things come, but I love it, and I don't use it much, so I just keep it as a treasure.
And June, why do you think it's important to share these objects in your story with a broader audience?
I think memory is beautiful, and being together is beautiful. I love to share what I have with people, and it's something to tell. It's just telling a story, and a happy story that brought to a happier end and happier stories. And I'm here today in Australia, very happy with my family. I managed to succeed in my life in Australia. I finished my studies, and today I'm even up to doing my PhD in ancient history. So I achieved a lot of things, and without being here and the opportunities that Australia gave us, I wouldn't have been able to do all that. And I am really grateful and happy to be here in Australia.